Hello everyone, welcome to the podcast series of RMK Fund Day, where we are gonna be discussing a lot of topics and concepts regarding our risk management, and also we are gonna be discussing how the risk is managed in real life. I am Shivam Palan, your coach and mentor for risk management. In today's podcast, we'll be discussing around principles and the aim of risk management. So, whenever I talk regarding a risk management, one example came to my mind that risk management is not just the brakes, it's a clutch also. As in, I'll give you the example what I'm trying to say. So, when you are driving a car, if I ask you a question, why do cars have a brake? What you will say? The cars have a brake because we can ride it faster, or whenever some incident happen, we can stop ourselves, right? In a similar manner, the organization have a risk management so that if something happens, wrong happens, or something happens which the organization is not prepared for, and for that thing the risk management is going to be helping the organization. I'd also say that risk management is also a clutch. So in a car, clutch acts as a smooth movement for a change in a gears, right? In a similar manner, the risk management will help an organization when the organization is willing to change something, or when the organization is trying to do something new. So risk management will help the organization in many manner. Now, coming to the process of risk management, so generally I divide it into 8 R's and 4 T's. I generally divide into 8 R's and 4 T's. What are 8 R's and 4 T's? Number 1 R, which I say is recognition of risk, is very, very important for the organization. So as an organization as a whole, you need to recognize the risk. Number 2 is rating of risk, which I generally call as an evaluation of risk. You need to evaluate it. Number 3 is ranking against a risk criteria, as in you're supposed to rank or analyze the current situation, or you're supposed to see what is the residual level of risk against the established risk criteria. Number 4 is response to the specified risk. So when I talk about the responses, I talk about the 4 T's. Those are tolerate, treat, transfer, and terminate. So these are the 4 T's when I talk about the responses to the risk. So I'm supposed to give a response. So whenever I am giving a response, I could say that I am giving an informal feedback, or I am giving a information feedback to the above party, so that I could improve it, I could again rate it, I could again recognize the risk, I could again rank the risk. Number 5 is resource control. What does the resource control means is, resource control is generally done to ensure that appropriate arrangements are made to introduce and sustain a necessary control. So in this case, when I'm talking about resourcing controls, I'm trying to see that whether the controls are acting or in an adequate manner or not. Number 5, when I talk about reaction planning, so what is the reaction planning, or it's more of a event management. Have you tried to manage those events or not? Number 6 is reporting on a risk. Reporting is again very, very important part. And number 7 is reviewing and monitoring, which acts as a overall process, including your internal audit procedure, arrangement for a review, and also it includes the updating on a risk architecture, strategy, and protocol, which generally will be gonna be studying in the later part of the section. But it's again very important for an organization to know what are the 8 R's and 4 T's whenever you are managing a risk. So I spoke about recognition of risk, rating of risk, ranking against the risk criteria, response to the risk. So when I'm talking about the response, I spoke about the 4 T's: tolerate, treat, transfer, and terminate. 5th is resource control. 6th is reaction planning. 7th is reporting on risk, and 8th is reviewing and monitoring the risk. So this all are very, very important things you as a risk manager should supposed to know when you are managing the risk. So now coming to the objectives of risk management, there are multiple objectives from the perspective of which we are looking as a risk management. First, we say that it's a mandatory, because yes, there are applicable rules and regulations under which I'm supposed to do a risk management. Number 2, I say that it will help me to give an assurance to the risk management team, to internal control team, and also will be dealing on RBIA in detail, right? Next, it helps in a decision making to the organization, whether the organization is going at a right pace, at correct direction or not. And also it is very important that risk management helps in taking an effective and efficient decision regarding the processes. That is, it tells the organization whether the processes which are followed are effective and efficient or not. So hence I say that risk management is very, very important for the organization So now coming to the identification of a risk, how you're supposed to identify the risk. So I generally say identification is a continuous evolving process. It's not a one day process, it's a continuous evolving process which an organization is supposed to do on a continuous basis or regular basis. Now, again, the next question comes is okay, how I'm supposed to identify the risk. So, for identification, I have made multiple steps or multiple processes across which an organization is supposed to do. But generally, if the organization wants to identify the risk, they can go for a SWOT analysis, Paisley analysis, and ERM analysis. Now, we'll cover the SWOT analysis in detail. What does the SWOT analysis means? SWOT analysis talks about the organization is supposed to categorize their strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. And on the basis of that, the organization is supposed to see at which area or which domain the organization is good at, and which area and which domain the organization is not good at. On the basis of that, the organization is supposed to improvise themselves. So I'm talking about the improvisation is if you don't improvise it, someone is gonna be taking that opportunity from you, right? So strength and weakness is generally internal or of its own, and threat and opportunity is of external environment or arise on account of some external environment. Now it's again very important for organization to convert its threats into an opportunity and weakness into a strength. So now once the SWOT analysis is done, you'll come to know where does the organization stand, what are its strengths, what are its weakness, and where the organization is supposed to work on. Now when I talk about the identification of risk, I generally ask what can go wrong, as in I just wanted to know what all things can go wrong. In this step or process, I try to ensure that I am able to identify the type of risk. But before you identify the type of risk, it's very, very important for you to know what type of industry the business is working into, what type of business or what type of sector the company is working into, and what is the core business of the company, or what are the major revenue sources of the company, or what are the major streams through which the organization is earning its revenue. Unless and until you do that, you will not be able to identify the risk. Once that is done, you need to see what are the essential functions of a business, what are the major functions through which, or which are the major functions which an organization is doing. Now, as you are identifying the risk, you are supposed to know as well who are the participants that can help you in identification of a risk. And also, you are supposed to know what are the sources that could lead to an identification of a risk. Like, you are supposed to know how the customers can be helping you in identification of a risk. Say, for example, you went outside for a shopping and you saw that your customer is buying a same product which your organization is selling. So what you can do is you can go to the customer and ask for a feedback. What you're trying to do, you're trying to identify the type of risk which organization might have or organization is having, right? So these are the small things which you as a risk manager should know when you are identifying the risk. Next step is you are supposed to check the everyday business function that could lead or arise in a risk. Say for example, someone joined the organization, so that could lead to an increase in a risk. If someone joined your organization, that would definitely lead to an organization of risk. If new person is coming, new technology is coming, so that will lead to a rise in a risk. Also, you are supposed to know what are the various methods or techniques you can use to identify the risk. The techniques here I mean like brainstorming, questionnaires, scenario analysis, fault tree analysis, boot analysis, surveys, workshops. All those things is gonna be helping you to identify the risk. Now, after that is done, you are supposed to ask few of the common questions regarding the identification of risk, or you are supposed to know what all questions I'm supposed to ask when I'm identifying the risk. The questions can be like what can go wrong, what could be failing, what might go wrong, or what is most vulnerable, how can I protect it. This type of questions you can ask when you're identifying the risk. Now, whenever you are identifying the risk, you are again supposed to allocate the roles and responsibilities to the risk manager and the risk committee. You must assign some roles and responsibilities to the risk manager and risk committee. If these are your roles, then these are your responsibilities when you're identifying the risk. Next step, when you're identifying the risky areas, you're supposed to keep in mind the concept of VUCA. So what is VUCA? VUCA generally talks about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So when you're identifying the risk, this concept is definitely going to be helping you out to understand what is the type of risk the organization is facing and what might be the risk the organization will be facing in a future time. Based on that, what you're supposed to do is whatever you have identified those risks, you're supposed to write those risks in the risk register. And when you're identifying the risk, try to ensure that first you see the business function, Second, you see the work performed by those functions. Third, you need to see what are the riskier areas, and on the basis of that riskier areas, you are supposed to allocate the risk. Right? It's a completely one process which you are supposed to follow when you're identifying the risk. So when you're identifying the risk, you're supposed to see the business functions. What are the work performed by those business functions? What are the riskier areas in those business functions? And on the basis of that, you will be allocating a risk. So this is the risk for this business function. Once that is done, you'll be able to identify the type of risk, and that risk which you have identified, you are supposed to record in a risk register. So thanks for listening this podcast. I hope this podcast is going to be helping you out in starting the risk management. Please do share with your friends and do let me know on which further topic you want a podcast series.